What's up, guys? Back with another video. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. Before we get into it, leave a like on this video, subscribe if you haven't already. And with that being said, I'm just gonna roll right into it without much of an introduction, but got here some things. You know, on this channel we love things, and me personally, I love things. EDC things, to be specific. So I kind of want to just talk generically about EDC today and my thoughts on it and where I stand in regards to how I feel about EDC. If this is your first time on this channel, you don't really know what EDC is. EDC stands for everyday carry. To sum it all up, it's kind of the things you put in your pockets on a daily basis. You know, your keys, your phone, your wallet can all fall under that EDC umbrella. For a lot of people, it extends beyond that, and that leads me into what my issue is with EDC, and that is that everybody has their own definition of what that means. You know, somebody might consider EDC a pocket knife, a firearm, fire starting kit, and all of the prep things that somebody considers to be necessary, and that's completely fine. I don't have an issue with that. What I do have an issue is when somebody like that sees somebody else who is in the EDC community and, you know, posts on a Facebook group or a Discord chat of their EDC, excited to, you know, maybe they're just getting into it and they just got their first pocket knife, and this guy over here starts typing his fingers away, getting all upset and annoyed at this guy over here that, hey, that's not EDC, this is what EDC really is. And I've never understood the need to be that typing, you know, mongrel of, oh, this isn't EDC, this isn't what this is about, this is blah, 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 blah. Like, it's like food. Everybody has different types of food that they enjoy. Everybody has their own thing, but in general, food is food. The things you put in your pocket are the things you put in your pocket, and what you consider to be an everyday necessity for you might look completely different to me, and it might look completely different to the next guy. But that's what I love about this entire umbrella, and what I love about this type of community is that we can all have our differences and enjoy them together. You know, everybody shares a love of things here. I've never understood there to be the need of the negativity. I've never understood it. Just because you don't understand why somebody's carrying something doesn't mean that it's any less meaningful or necessary to that person. Because everybody is different, everybody has different needs, and everybody is interested in different things. As a doctor, your EDC, your everyday carry, might look completely different to an electrician. And that's just life. That's just the way that things go. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, how you feel about that. Me personally, I'm not really about it, and that's kind of why I've taken a pretty big step back from EDC content and that kind of thing. I really enjoyed it for a long time, but that was one of the factors that kind of made me take one foot out and focus on a few other things. It's just the constant negativity from some people, and it's not everybody, but those very few people kind of ruin the experience for a lot of others that really enjoy this and are trying to find a sense of community, and are really kind of put down by those people that just want to hate and say that that's not really what EDC is about, that's not really what you should be carrying, and, you know, I don't understand it. But that being said, I kind of want to just show you guys what's been in my pockets lately, and let's start off with, so this has been one of my favorite hanks to carry. Mandalorian print on the front, and a nice plain brown on the back. I love this thing. And this is by, if you can read it, my buddy over at Liberty Hanks. Pry bar, just a pretty generic titanium pry bar. Got it off of Amazon for maybe 20-30 bucks. Nothing special. To go along with that is, well, not to go along with it, but next up is this O-Pen Mini, little bolt action pen by Olight. I love this thing. It's kind of the perfect size for me. I don't need a massive pen that takes up a lot of space, especially when the space that I have things to carry is limited. So for me, kind of the smaller the better, and this fits that bill. Going along with that is my same field notes that I've been using for a while now. I don't write a lot, but I write enough to where I really like having paper and a pen. Next up, probably one of the most not normal EDC accessories, and if you know me at all, you know that it is normal for me and kind of falls under that, you know, it might not be for this guy over here, it might not be for that person, but for me, this is something that I have to have with me to get me through any sort of day, and that is just a deck of playing cards. This is a really cool deck by a company called Art of Play. Recently on a trip to San Diego, stopped by a little coffee shop that happened to be selling decks of cards. And these cards are really cool. I'm gonna geek out for a second, bear with me. But this is what the backs are. Really elegant looking playing cards. If you want to check out the coffee shop, or if you want to check out Art of Play, go for it. The coffee shop is James Coffee. They made this hat. My new favorite hat. And they're locally based out of San Diego, so that's really cool. So that's playing cards. Again, might not be for you, but I love playing cards, so it's in my EDC. That's why it's my EDC and not your EDC. But I would love to know what you guys are carrying in your pockets in the comments down below. Flashlight of choice, and lately it has been between my Warrior Mini 2 and this Baton 3 Pro Max. I absolutely love the Baton 3 Pro Max. It uses, I believe it's the 21700 battery. I'm gonna check on that right now. But I use my flashlights a ton. And so for me, I really like having a bigger size battery. Yeah, 21700. I could make do with a smaller battery like what's in the Baton 3 Pro. I just feel like I'm charging it more often. And it has been so long since I've charged this particular flashlight. I believe it is only at like 60-ish%. That's why I love the big battery. Plus, it's in a really compact size for what the battery size is. The battery size is about that much of the flashlight. So all the space that's left is just this top half right here is the only part that isn't battery. That's a big battery. I love that it's, for what it is, it's compact. It's not the most compact flashlight, but for a battery this size, it's about as compact as you're gonna get, and I love this. It gets freaking bright, as you can see. Just blinded myself, but it also gets really dim, which is what I use it for the absolute most, is in the moonlight setting. So I believe it's a half lumen of light, which is just enough light to help me navigate through my room in the morning so I don't wake up my wife by turning the lights on. And it's really handy. In the mornings, I don't turn on any lights, I just use a flashlight. Because, like I showed you, this thing gets freaking bright. And more often than not, this is brighter than any light in a house. I could light up an entire room with this flashlight, which is insane. And that brings me to the last item in my EDC, and probably the one that y'all are most interested in, which is the knife. And this has been one that I loved for months on end. I could not get it out of my pockets. And the knife in question, the knife we're talking about, is this guy. This is that even in focus? I think so. This This is, bang, the Sencut Watuga. Absolutely awesome knife. There we go. And if you see on the blade, stop focusing on me, focus on the knife. You see on the blade here, this wear right there and right here, that's all me. I've worn this thing down so much and it's actually still kind of sharp. I do need to sharpen it, probably just hone it and strop it, but the action on this thing is freaking smooth. For I want to say this was like $42, less than $50. This knife has killer action. You can reverse flick it too, thanks to this. There's a fuller in the blade right there, which with some practice flicks right out. Awesome finger choil as well. You can choke right up and you can get a really good purchase for some more finer detail kind of work. But this is a really good work knife and was my work knife for so long. Probably for about 2 months straight, I used this knife exclusively. When I stopped carrying it, I also got the Kaiser Drop Bear, which is also a fantastic knife and one that is still in my pocket almost every single day. Again, that knife needs to be honed and stropped because it's not as sharp as I'd like it to be. But that aside, I love this knife. And when I got the Drop Bear, I kind of forgot about this one because the Drop Bear is so freaking good. Kaiser and Sencut Civivi are some of my favorite budget knife brands. Budget is semi-subjective. Some people out there might consider Benchmade budget, and others might consider under $15, sub $20 knife budget. For me, Kaiser and Civivi kind of fall right into where I would consider budget gear. But they make fantastic stuff, and I carry Civivi knives and Kaiser knives way more than I carry my Benchmade Griptilian. I love my Benchmade Griptilian. It is a fantastic knife. But I find myself carrying other knives more than I carry that knife. I paid $180 for my Benchmade Griptilian and I paid $40 for this knife. And there's gonna be some keyboard typing mongrel out there that's like, Civivi knives suck and this is why. I don't care. You could give me every single reason why a Civivi knife sucks, or a Sencut knife sucks, or a Kaiser knife sucks. But that doesn't change the fact that I love Kaiser and Sencut and Civivi and budget knives. I beat my knives to crap. So for me, I would much rather beat a knife that costs $50 because it's much more easily replaceable if it breaks than my Benchmade or than a Chris Reeve knife or a Microtech knife. Like, yes, I could beat on those knives, but if it breaks, I don't want to be out $200, $300, $400 to replace a knife. When I could get one that works just as well, I might have to sharpen it a bit more often, but that's not a big deal. I'll take sharpening a knife 2 weeks more often than what I would with a higher ticketed, higher priced blade, and running the risk of it breaking, snapping a blade in half. I'm not very light on my knives. And so for me, it is a personal preference that I buy my knives cheaper, less expensive. I buy my knives under $100 for the most part. The knives I beat on the most are the knives I spent the least money on. For my Benchmade Griptilian, it might be an overbuilt knife. It might be a knife that's meant to handle really heavy duty tasks, but that's not a knife that I want to have to replace. One, it was my first Father's Day gift when I first became a father. So that knife to me is an insanely special knife, and one that even if it would break, which I really don't want it to, because that knife out of my entire collection means the most to me. Again, I'm ranting way too much, my point is the things you like, it doesn't matter what anybody else has to say. It doesn't matter if somebody agrees with you or heavily doesn't and feels the need to attack you for it. The gear and the things that you enjoy, that's what this is about. That's what this whole EDC thing is about. There are going to be guys that are going to say the definition of EDC was meant for military and police officers and all this. That might have been where it started, but it has grown so much past that to an actual community of people that find friendship and that find a sense of belonging in this community. And I don't support anybody who has any ounce of trying to take that away from somebody else. Keep your negativity, keep your trying to gatekeep, your gear, trying to gatekeep this community from people. That's not what this is about. This is a community that we welcome anybody with open arms. Point blank. That's the way I see it. Some people might not share my opinion, but that's the way that I see it, and that's the way I feel like it should be. This is a community of just people who like things. And if you like things, subscribe, leave a like. I guess until next time, peace.